All right, we've got some updates with JOANN Fabrics, Michaels, and Etsy. We have so much to talk about tonight on Sewing Report Live. I am Jen. Welcome to the show where every week I go over what is going on in the world of sewing. We have some fun and we chat and we get to know each other. So welcome to the party. A couple quick housekeeping rules before we get started. If you are watching live or on the replay, I greatly appreciate your comments and your chats. I just ask that we keep it kind, respectful, civil, and zero politics here. So thanks everyone for watching. We are gonna get started and I greatly appreciate everyone being here. And a quick shout out to tonight's live stream sponsor, as usual, the Sewing Report Etsy shop, where you can find fabric, sewing supplies, and handmade goodies. So let's check out some of the stuff in the shop. We've got some fabric bundles, we have sew-in woven labels, we've got sewing notions, lots of stuff. And this is stuff I feature myself in Sewing Report videos. These are, again, I curate this stuff personally and I greatly appreciate everyone that shops with me. Basically, I started an Etsy shop and I was like, hey, I'll just supply it with stuff I use myself. So that's pretty much what we do there. And I package everything up personally, and there is free shipping over $35. So again, quick shout out to tonight's live stream sponsor, the Sewing Report Etsy shop. So there is so much going on. I was doing some research for what we were going to talk about this week, and I kept finding more and more stuff. So this is going to be a jam-packed show. I appreciate everyone for being here. Let me know what you think in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay, in the comments here. And this is your chance. You can ask questions. If there's something you wanted to ask from the main channel, this is your opportunity. Think of this sort of like office hours. You know what I'm saying here. And by the way, quick disclaimer, I am a bit under the weather feeling, so I'm like, but we're doing this anyways. I don't know what's going on. It's like allergy season or whatever. I have no idea, but I feel super stuffed up. So if that comes across, I apologize in advance. So lots going on with our favorite company, JOANN Fabrics. Oh, and by the way, links to a lot of the like resources I'm using, like the sources I'm pulling up, are in the description box. So if you want to check these out on your own and read some of the articles, or just check out some of the stuff that's all already kind of like show notes, they're already in the description box. So, all right, this is, I mean, not super surprising, because Joann's is repeatedly showing that they're making some fairly puzzling business decisions. And I kept seeing more and more articles about this as I was doing some show research. JOANN approves $400,000 CFO retention bonus amid bankruptcy speculations. I reported this a few weeks ago that it does look like JOANN is planning to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That is the reorganizing category. So it doesn't mean that all of the stores are going to close. It just means that they're trying to work out deals just to restructure the company and try to figure out their debt situation, because the company does have a massive amount of debt. All right, so this is reported from CFOdive.com. The struggling craft supplies retailer approved the bonus as it continues to hunt for a permanent CEO while facing liquidity and inventory challenges. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, so it says, the board for craft and arts retailer JOANN approved a one-time $400,000 cash retention bonus for its CFO Scott Sekella as it faces speculation of a looming bankruptcy, according to a Thursday filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So this is something they have to disclose since JOANN is a publicly traded company. I don't know how long that'll last, because the stock is like, I think it was around 23 cents last time I checked. Last May, Sekella was also named co-lead of the interim office of the CEO upon the retirement of Wade Miquelon, the company's former president and CEO. In a previous show, I went over the history of Wade Miquelon. It's a little bit spotty, and yeah, he was part of the He was part of Walgreens management, and Walgreens was basically duped by Elizabeth Holmes, the woman who was the helm of the Theranos debacle. The Hudson, Ohio-based company also expanded its board of directors from 6 members to 7, so they're adding costs in the C-suite. Appointing Pamela Corey as a director effective March 13th. In association with her appointment as an independent director, Corey will receive a fixed monthly cash fee of $30,000, according to the filing. Sekella's bonus is subject to repayment if he voluntarily terminates his employment or if his employment is terminated for cause within 6 months of the bonus, the company said. All right, Dive Insight, a veteran retail executive who has worked at such companies as Under Armour and Crocs, as well as Henkel, Pfizer, and Ford Motor Company. Sekella joined the arts and crafts provider as its CFO in September of 2022, according to a company press release. In taking Joan's CFO seat, Sekella received an annual base salary of $425,000, as well as a sign-on bonus of $235,000, according to the company's most recent proxy statement. The changes to the company's board and Sekella's bonus follow a rough patch for Joann. In May, the retailer announced the resignation of Miquelon, who departed after 7 years in the company's top seat following a challenging fiscal year. Industry Dive's sister publication Retail Dive reported Joann appointed Sekella, as well as Chief Customer Officer Chris DiTullio, to lead the interim office of the CEO during the hunt for a permanent successor. See, Joann's currently does not have a permanent CEO. Just these 2 guys who are filling in the meantime. Joann has faced a cash flow and liquidity, as well as inventory challenges throughout the past year as it juggled a tough consumer environment, leading to speculation that the retailer may soon file for bankruptcy, according to a Bloomberg report citing people familiar with the matter. While the retailer saw a year-over-year improvement in e-commerce sales as well as a bump in gross profit, net sales declined 4.1% to $539.8 million year-over-year in the third fiscal quarter ended October 28th, according to its most recent earnings report. We're working. So Scott says, in light of the uncertain consumer environment, we are working to manage all aspects of the business prudently while leveraging our read and react capabilities through advanced data analytics to control what we can control and capitalize on new opportunities as they arise. All right, that all sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I'm just going to be real about that. The company also continued to execute on its cost improvement initiatives. He said identifying $200 million of targeted annual cost savings across its supply chain, product, and SG&A expenses. A target is increased to $225 million. Joann also completed a sale and leaseback transaction for its Hudson, Ohio facility for a price of $34.5 million. However, the retailer's cash flow worries have continued, with Joann beginning confidential talks with lenders in February for a deal that would reportedly help to boost its cash reserves and would include a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing on the part of Joann. Bloomberg reported negotiations are still ongoing, but there are retailers reportedly seeking support from lenders that would enable it to quickly exist from Chapter 11 in a pre-pack filing, people familiar with the matter told Bloomberg. Joann did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Whoa. Well, quite a week for Joann. So they're bringing on a new board member, and apparently this lady specializes in like turnarounds and bankruptcy filings in particular. They're going to pay her $30,000 per month, and they're basically giving this guy Scott Sekella a $400,000 bonus to stay on with the company at least 6 months. If somebody wanted to pay me $400,000 to stay with them at least 6 months, because I mean, they're basically trying to get this guy not to jump off a sinking ship. That's very appealing, and I totally get why he took the bonus, but I think this does come across a bit tone deaf to customers and to the people working at the Joann stores who are getting paid like minimum wage or just slightly above minimum wage to do all of the work on the ground. And I did check out the Joann subreddit this week, and people were not very happy with this news at all. And I don't know how this is going to help employee morale. I'll just say that. And again, for a company that is showing, basically it's showing that it's like a sinking ship, they're just throwing more money at executives. I'm like, okay, really? Really? So, yeah, so that's the latest. And we can actually take a look at these contracts here. So what do I have here? So we can see these contracts for ourselves. So this is the retention bonus agreement for Scott Sekella for... I like how it says it's a thank you. This retention bonus is being offered to thank you for your continued hard work and commitment to Joann. Now, I don't know this guy Scott personally, but do we think he's a hard worker? Do we think this guy deserves a $400,000 bonus to stay there for 6 months? So here are the terms and conditions. Wow. Just wow. But, and again, this is linked below in the description box if you would like to take a closer look at the contract. And this is the contract for Pamela, the turnaround specialist. And again, it looks like this is from March 13th. And where's the thing about her? Let's look for the compensation here. Let me try to find that. Wow, 30,000. And I wonder how many hours a week do these board members have to work on Joann's? Like, is it a 10-hour a week kind of thing? 20 hours? I don't know, but $30,000 a month is pretty good. And she's on the board of a bunch of other companies. So this lady is basically just cleaning up a lot of money for her alleged expertise. So here's Pamela's contract. I'm trying to find her. I feel like I may have missed it. I'm just trying to find her compensation here. Okay. But that's a lot of money. I mean, I don't know about you guys, I've never made $30,000 a month for anything. Definitely not for these YouTube channels. That's for sure. All right, so let's take a look at some other. So here is the current Joann leadership team. And they have, so this is the management. So currently the co-interim CEOs are Chris DiTullio and Scott Sekella. And here's the other folks here. And then we can also see the board of directors. And I noticed that Pamela has not been added yet. So currently they got these 6 people. I believe most of these people are from the private equity group that actually controls most of the Joann Stock. So I believe most of these people are from Leonard Green and Partner. So basically there's 6 people, and then Pamela will be number 7. So they're adding another board member. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I honestly am like flummoxed about Joann's business strategy here. And this is Scott Sekella, the man who is getting $400,000 as a thank you for his hard work and dedication to Joann. So he is the executive vice president. He's only been with the company for less than 2 years. I was at CNN for almost 5 years, and my bonuses were like $1,500 or something. So $400,000 is more money than most people make in a decade. Like, so someone that would make $40,000 a year, that's 10 years worth of work. This guy's getting it for just being Scott. Just being Scott. You can get $400,000 for agreeing to not leave the company for 6 months. I would hold out for 6 months for $400K. I mean, who wouldn't, you know? Who wouldn't? And let's take a look at some other. So here is some more info about Pamela. And this is an announcement for another. She's on, again, this lady's on a lot of board of directors here. So she is an independent non-executive director. She's 66 and has significant experience at the nexus of finance and law. She's a seasoned board director with insight garnered from involvement with a number of growth companies operating at varying stages of development. In addition, she brings expertise in providing insight and oversight and advisory services on the design and execution of corporate change programs. I mean, good for her. She was general counsel at GE. Okay, she was a practicing attorney, representing large corporate debtors in Chapter 11 proceedings, as well as clients in all phases of restructuring, bankruptcy, counseling, and litigation. Fun times. I mean, good for Pamela for getting $30,000 a month. You know, it's very appealing. So yeah, there's a lot going on this week with Joann's. Let's take a look at the Joann stock price too to see what's going on with that, because this announcement happened a little earlier in the week. So this is the current Joann stock price at 23 cents here. 23 cents. And if you look at it over a 5-year period, yeah, it basically looks like Joann stock just fell off a cliff, and it's been in plateau for the last year or so. So things obviously are not going well for Joann Fabrics. You know, and I will say this, I was looking at the Joann subreddit, and a lot of the employees were saying that a lot of customers are coming in and trying to like get the scoop about what's happening at a corporate level. Guys, I don't encourage you to do that. It's not going to help anything. The employees at the stores don't know. They don't have any insider info. So guys, please don't do this. It's annoying to the employees, and they don't have any information because corporate is not really keeping them in the loop. So I would really discourage anyone from doing that kind of thing. It's kind of cringe. So don't bother or hassle the employees, and don't try to get, they don't know any more than we do at this point, and it's not helpful, and it's not helping the morale on the ground level at these stores. So just a quick favor, if you're watching, I know, again, we all want to know what's going on with Joann, but you're more likely going to get it from like a news update online than you are in the stores. So guys, that's not cool. So just ask, you know, be respectful and be kind to the employees, because they're not a part of this at all. They're basically casualties of all of this corporate governance. But it must be nice for all of these employees making like $8 or $9 an hour to look at Scott Sekella, who just got a $400,000 bonus on top of his $425,000 base salary. Plus he might get other bonuses and like stock options and that sort of thing. So that is the latest with Joann Fabric. Again, this company, every week I'm just like, it seems like there's more and more where I'm just like, WTF, guys. I'm just like, WTF. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. All right, hello, Sandy. We've got Glory in the house. Hello, everyone. We got Jamie here. All right, good comment from Chandra. I don't see how moving forward with the same failed business model is much of a solution. Yeah, I agree with you. So Chandra, his base salary is already $425,000. So, I mean, he's making pretty good money, and the company is headquartered in Ohio, so it's not like a high cost of living area. I'm sure Scott lives in a very nice house and has no financial issues. He is completely unimpacted by the recession or inflation. Scott's doing just fine. I'm sure he probably drives a luxury car. Not a lifestyle I can relate to. So he's basically doubled his salary for the year just by agreeing not to jump ship now. It doesn't help that Joann thinks it's okay to charge $16 for mediocre fabric. I would agree with that. This is the same path Hancock's took. We know the results. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'm just like, I want to put up like a facepalm emoji for every time I read another story about Joann's latest business move, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why not take that $400,000 and increase store hours at all of the locations, or pay these people slightly more? You know, I know a crazy idea to pay people who don't make that much more money, instead of giving $400,000 to a corporate executive who already makes mid six figures. Like, you know, if you want to create a hostile workplace environment and create extremely low employee morale, that is the way to go here. That is the way to go. So I was reading this and I'm like, I cannot believe they're doing this, but they are. They definitely are. And I don't even know what to say, but I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All right, in other news, so last week I told you all about how Michaels is starting to up their fabric selection and trying to get into the Joann's game. And then I saw another press release from Michaels, and it seems like Michaels is sort of throwing some shade on Etsy. And here, I'll show you what I mean by this. So I want to tell you about another initiative that Michaels is doing. Maybe this is a smart idea that Michaels is trying to capitalize on some missed opportunities from other competitors. So there's this thing called MakerPlace by Michaels, and it's supposed to be sort of like an Etsy alternative. I was trying to look into these onboarding process, and I was a little bit confused by it, to be completely honest with you. So I didn't end up going through with it, but Michaels is trying to be an Etsy competitor. So they have this thing called, they're doing something where they're gonna actually start selling handmade items made by small handmade sellers in the actual physical stores. So I want to get your opinion on this because I do think this is kind of interesting. So it says Michaels debuts MakerPlace by Michaels, respect the handmade brand campaign and in-store selling pilot to celebrate handmade artists and creators. And to me, the reason this throws shade at Etsy is because Etsy has a problem with allowing sellers on the platform that are selling mass-produced crap made overseas. That's the same stuff that's on Amazon, Alibaba, or like Temu or Shein. And it's very obvious that these items are not handmade, and Etsy doesn't seem to be doing a lot to stop these types of shops. So Michaels is basically saying, hey, we respect handmade makers here. So it says latest endeavors deepen commitment to continued evolution of MakerPlace as the best place for handmade sellers and shoppers. All right, and I didn't realize Michaels is based out of Irving, Texas. I had no idea. Michaels, the best place for all things creative, today unveiled the first ever brand campaign for MakerPlace by Michaels, the new online marketplace for truly handmade goods, classes, and how-tos, as well as in-store selling pilot at Michaels stores for MakerPlace sellers. These efforts are the latest in Michaels' continuous evolution of the platform in support of the goal to be the best place for handmade sellers and shoppers. All right, so it says, all right, here's all right, how's this gonna work? The Respect the Handmade campaign was brought to life in partnership with creative agency Oberland, I've never heard of that before, and celebrates the brand promise of respecting and supporting independent handmade artists and makers, as well as our customers who turn to them for unique gifts, decor, and more. The campaign will extend across social media, the MakerPlace website, and Michaels' own channels, as well as streaming video and programmatic paid media. The campaign is based on the concept of handmade goods coming to life, showcasing the thrill of discovering unique handmade treasures and the joy these items bring to the customers purchasing them. It features an anthem spot set to a playful cover of the iconic song Respect, performed by handcrafted puppets, representing, that's weird, the kinds of goods sold on MakerPlace, including goods available for purchase from sellers Sun Sprinkles and Breads and Threads Handmade. All right, here's a quote. So I'm just wondering, like, if they're gonna sell in the stores, I'm just wondering how that's gonna look. All right, so it says MakerPlace was designed with the goal of helping handmade artists and makers succeed with lower fees, flexible membership options, and more ways to earn. All right. Select MakerPlace sellers will be invited to sell directly to their community. So I guess like at their own local Michaels stores. All right, creating a new opportunity to drive exposure and sales for their independent handmade businesses. Michaels customers will have the added benefit of discovering local handmade artists and shopping high quality handmade goods across MakerPlace categories like home decor and accents. fine art and woodwork alongside the Michaels offerings they know and love. The pilot is the latest example of Michaels' test and learn strategy, which takes a data-driven approach to launching and evaluating small-scale in-market innovations that inform future launches. Okay, so it says the first in-store pilot began on February 24th in 7 stores across North Carolina, Florida, Missouri, Illinois, Utah, Louisiana, and Massachusetts, with the next pilot scheduled for March 23rd. I'm very curious about this. I mean, let's see, a video. All right, they got a video about this. Okay, should we watch the video? All right, let's watch the video here. All right, we'll see. Yeah, I'm curious about the logistics of this. Like, here's my thing. Like, if somebody's selling stuff on Etsy or, like, doing craft fairs, you know, it takes, like, these are very small-scale productions. So, I'm wondering how Michaels will handle, like, if something does become very popular, how do they coordinate with the maker to stock the inventory and make sure that there's something there all the time? I can see, like, if they only have, like, 5 of each item or something, those sell out and then there was nothing left. Like, how often are they gonna try to keep the inventory updated? Like, I'm just curious about the logistics of this. The other thing that I'm a little bit worried about is, and this would be my concern if I sold at, like, craft fairs or, you know, handmade markets or whatever, is people handling the items, especially if the actual business owner is not there to keep watch over the inventory. What's to stop people from, like, you know, like, if it's something that can get, you know, made of fabric, too many people handling the item and maybe damaging the items. Like, I just really have some questions as to how they're going to stop people that are just random customers in the stores from overhandling the items or potentially damaging the items. And also what happens if there's, like, shoplifting and someone steals them. Like, that already happens a lot in these stores, you know, and you see people, like, you know, kind of not handling the inventory very well. Like, how are they going to really kind of oversee that? That's sort of a question. That's just a question I have personally about, you know, that type of thing. So, you know, I don't know. I just have some questions as to how that will all work. All right, let's take a look at we'll take a look at the video here. So it says, all right, I don't know, and I also don't know, I'm probably gonna have to mute the audio just because I don't know if this is gonna have copyrighted music. All right, we're gonna, okay, so it's like, all right, it's very like Jim Henson's, like, Muppets or like Fraggle Rock or something. I don't know. What does everybody think? This is the ad.
MakerPlace by Michaels, a new marketplace that's made for handmade.
I don't know. This ad is not hitting it for me. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they could have done a better ad, in my opinion. I don't know. So, what do you guys think? I feel like they could have done. I think the average person who sees this, I think might be a little bit confused, in my opinion. I'm like, the ad was not impactful at all for me. And I want to also share this with you. So, Ashley Buchanan, who's the CEO of the Michaels companies, posted something on LinkedIn about this. So it's basically the same sort of thing. Let's see here. So it's like, in November, we launched MakerPlace by Michaels. And here's the thing, I don't think enough people know about this outside of our small circle. All right, respect the handmade. Thank you. Okay, so we got to look at the comments for this because the comments were pretty funny. So he posted about this. And yeah, I just want to show you all the comments. Like, yeah, I know. LinkedIn is a weird place to begin with. I mean, I sort of, on one hand, I kind of like the idea of them allowing makers to sell in the stores. But here's my question too, is a lot of people are shopping at Michaels to buy craft supplies to make something, and they're not necessarily a customer looking to buy handmade items. So I don't know if that demographic is the same, and how are they going to attract people to the physical stores who would like to buy something already made, because a lot of people going to Michael's are DIYers and not necessarily someone that wants to buy a handmade item. Like, they're not the typical Etsy shopper, but I do think it's interesting that Michael's seems to be throwing shade at Joann's and at Etsy. So again, throwing shade at Joann about their troubles. So they're trying to move in on the fabric market, and then they're also trying to move in on the Etsy market as well. So do you think this is smart on the part of Michael's? Do you think they're trying to do too much? Like, I feel like Michael's is trying to dip their fingers in too many pots. Like, I feel like they should focus on, like, more of a core thing. I'm a little bit confused by the MakerPlace stuff, though, and I'm not sure if it's going to catch on. That's just my honest opinion. All right, let's see what you guys think down in the comments here. All right, it's a shame. I believe there was a market if they would just modernize and pull it together. Michael's is going to grab Joann fabric customers while they are struggling. Exactly. That's what I think they're trying to do. They're trying to move in on Joann territory. They smell blood in the water, and they're like a shark. They're going for it. They are going for it. All right, I went to Joann's yesterday, and all the simplicity patterns were $2. I wish I could have bought it online. Hey, that's awesome. They were having a sale, though. Michael's was supposed to start selling fabric when they bought out Hancock's, but they didn't do it in stores, a little bit online. We'll see, because they're saying that they're going to roll this out in stores. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If Michael's can do it better than Etsy, I would shop there, but I wish Etsy would tighten things up and get back to their roots. It makes sense business-wise for Michael's to get into the Etsy space. Makers will then be buying supplies since they will already be in store or on the Michael's website. I don't see this scheme being easily scalable. If you're referring to the selling handmade items in store, I just see a lot of potential issues with it. Like, I think it's an interesting idea. I'm just not sure how they would do it, like, on a wide scale. I agree with you. Okay, all good points. Thank you for that. Yeah, that ad was not it. Like, I'm just being real here. That doesn't make it clear to me what they're doing. Exactly. Like, you're like, okay, there are these things that look like Jim Henson Muppets or puppets or something. What is going on here? Same with the Etsy Super Bowl ad. I thought it was a very weak ad. Just in terms of how impactful it would be on people watching. I was not into it at all. I was like, this is just not great. So I thought they could have done better. And that's the thing, they probably paid a ton, like an enormous amount of money to get these ads made, and they suck. Like, I feel like customers could come up with better concepts for ads, and like we wouldn't, be charging hundreds of thousands of dollars. So just my opinion. I thought that was very weird. I thought the ad was strange. So there's a lot going on with some of these big companies in the space, and I'm interested to see how it will play out. Joann's, man, I don't know. That $400,000 bonus and the new board member, I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, what? I feel like they could just get a random customer to come to the headquarters, and they would probably give better suggestions than all of these high-powered, high-salaried people they're bringing in. Like, I don't know, guys. And yeah, we have a ton. We still have a lot to talk about, too. So, speaking of Etsy, there was something very weird I saw on my my Etsy dashboard, and I wanted to share this with you because I was like, this is a little strange. All right, so let me share this here. Okay, so this is what I saw when I was on my Etsy dashboard here. All right, so normally, like, they'll give you, like, a shop checklist or, like, announcements for stuff they want to tell you about. And I saw this week, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. So, to all of the shop owners, they will get this message. It says, tell Congress no unfair tax burdens for micro entrepreneurs. We're calling on the U.S. Congress to permanently increase the minimum tax reporting threshold for 1099-K forms. Will you join us? So it's like, okay, so Etsy's trying to get their shop owners to participate in politics. I'm like, okay. I'm like, whatever. So it says, and there's a little button and says contact your representatives. All right, so I clicked on it, and here's what I got here. All right, so I get this little message, and it's like, so I found it kind of interesting that Etsy is trying to solicit all of the Etsy shop owners to reach out to Congress on their behalf. So it says, and it's like, act now, sign up with Facebook. And it's like, I don't know, it's like I guess you're supposed to this is going to be emailed to your local, congressperson or something. It says, Etsy sellers, tell Congress no unfair tax burdens for micro entrepreneurs. We're calling on the U.S. Congress to permanently increase the minimum tax reporting threshold for 1099K forms. And I've reported on this before. I've done a few videos on it. In 2021, Congress passed a law that lowered the reporting threshold for 1099K forms from $20,000 in 200 transactions to just $600 in one transaction. While this new threshold is yet to go into effect because of IRS delays, without a permanent solution, Etsy sellers could soon have to deal with an unnecessary burden when filing their taxes. Under the lower threshold, Etsy sellers would receive a new tax form for the first time ever for selling as little as one item, like a painting or custom furniture piece on our marketplace. Many makers spend significant resources and time creating items to sell on Etsy. However, 1099K forms only take into account income made on an online marketplace and payment platforms, putting the burden on everyday sellers like you to show the amount of money they spent creating the items they sold to prove they don't owe any taxes. The Senate has an opportunity to act now to permanently raise the 1099K tax reporting threshold to a more reasonable number that targets the people who owe taxes instead of harassing the people who don't. Will you join us in asking your senators to support casual sellers and come up with a legislative fix? So it's got this little thing, and it's like, you're supposed to write your senator, I'm writing today to urge blah, 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 blah. And it's got like a thing that Etsy's trying to help you submit this to your senator or congressperson or whatever. So I saw this, and I'll be honest with you, as a seller, this kind of rubbed me the wrong way that Etsy is trying to get all of these sellers, and a lot of sellers have some legitimate gripes with the platform, and I would say they don't have all love for Etsy. So it rubbed me the wrong way as a seller that Etsy is trying to get me to do the dirty work or the legwork for them to advocate to Congress on their behalf. Why don't they do it themselves? Why are they asking me, a small-time seller, to do the legwork to write to my congressperson or senator or whatever? I was like, I don't know. I just thought that was a little cringe. Sort of like how TikTok is doing it this week. They're trying to get all of the users to write to Congress on their behalf and stuff. And I'm like, guys, why are you asking the little people to do something for a corporation? Why would I want to go out of my way to make things easier for a corporation? That's where I was kind of I don't know, guys. So just my opinion. But, and the other thing, I was thinking about this too. So I've done a few shows about this, and I do agree with Etsy that I think the reporting threshold for the 1099K form should be higher. I think $600 is going to encompass a lot of people who don't actually sell on any real scale. That's also going to get people who sold stuff on old stuff on Mercari or eBay, because $600 is a very small amount of money. So they're going to get it's going to create a lot of work for the IRS, for all of the people who sell old stuff on online platforms. But, so I can see why I think the threshold could be if they made it $10,000 or $5,000, I think that would make more sense, because $600 could be someone that sold a couple old things on Mercari or eBay or Poshmark, and not someone who does it as a business. But here's where I have an issue with Etsy asking us to do this. So I kind of felt from the wording on that messaging, I kind of felt like Etsy was trying to say, hey, like, here's the thing. Even if someone does get a 1099K form for the $600 on Etsy, that's something like them keeping track of their books and being able to show their expenses and like their profit and loss sheet and stuff. That's something an Etsy seller should be doing regardless whether or not they get that 1099K form. And what that means is it means you're an independent contractor. So you're not employed by Etsy. You are just using Etsy as a platform to sell. Etsy does not collect or remit income tax on your behalf. So you're supposed to be doing all of your own tax stuff. You're responsible for paying income taxes to the IRS if you're in the United States. But my problem with it is that I feel like Etsy is not, they're not pointing out the fact that Etsy sellers are supposed to be doing all of that anyways, regardless of if they get the form or not. Unfortunately, I've legit seen sellers on like Reddit and whatnot who don't understand that they have to pay taxes on money they earn even if they don't get a 1099K form. They think they're good as long as they don't get the tax form. That's not what the law is. You are supposed to be paying taxes on any profit you earn from the shop, regardless of the amount. So whether it's $600 or it's $20,000, like, again, I make less than $20,000 a year on Etsy, and I know that I am still supposed to be keeping track of all my expenses and that I need to pay taxes on the money I earn even if I don't get the tax form, and I don't get the tax form. So I feel like Etsy is in kind of a backhanded way encouraging and not really spelling out to people that, hey, you're supposed to be doing this anyways. They're trying to make it look like, you know, I don't like that they're trying to make it look like this is an altruistic action they're doing to help out small sellers. No, that's not it. What Etsy is really trying to do is they don't want the headache of having to keep track of all of these transactions, and they don't want the extra legwork of issuing the 1099Ks because it's more work for them. But they're not doing it to help out small sellers. But they're like, we're just trying to, you know, we feel like this is an undue burden on micro entrepreneurs. Like, no, that's not what it is at all. Etsy just doesn't want to do the work of having to issue the 1099Ks. But whether or not, whatever the threshold is with the IRS, the small sellers are still supposed to be reporting the income, and they're still supposed to be reporting and keeping track of their income to report on their taxes. So that's my issue with this messaging, is that they're like, this is going to cause an undue burden on small handmade businesses. But no, guys, like, you're supposed to be doing this anyway. So that's what I'm trying to tell people, is that no matter if you make $600 with your shop or $600,000, you still need to run this as a business and keep track of all of the money you're spending, all of the money you're earning, and you are responsible for the taxes. So even if you don't get the tax form, basically the tax form just makes it harder for you to fly under the radar, but legally you are supposed to be paying income taxes on anything you earn, minus the expenses. So if I made $6,000 on my Etsy shop and my expenses were $3,000, I am supposed to be reporting and paying taxes on that $3,000 of profit. So that's the thing. Like, the 1099K form theoretically doesn't make it any easier or harder for Etsy sellers. The 1099K form just is more headache for Etsy. So I don't like that Etsy is trying to frame this like, we're trying to help you out, guys. They're not. They're trying to help themselves out, and that's the truth. So that's just my take on this. But I saw this and I thought it was a little sketchy on Etsy's part that they're trying to make it look like they're trying to help out the little guy, and they're not. So just my 2 cents. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. All right, it's for small-time sellers. It's not on Etsy's behalf. It's for your behalf. Okay, I'm trying to figure out, what do you mean by that? Well, here's the thing, though. Whether or not, whatever the threshold is, you as a seller on Etsy are responsible for reporting all of the income on your taxes. If you don't, it's technically illegal. So The only difference it makes is for Etsy, because then they have to do the legwork to generate all of those 1099K forms. So it doesn't really help you out at all. It really just helps them out. All right, what the heck? $600 is sofa change compared to what big corporations don't pay on. It's ridiculous. I do agree. I think the threshold should be a bit higher, because I think what's going to happen unintentionally is that a lot of people are going to get ensnared into getting a 1099K form who are not actual businesses. Like, again, people who just sell old clothing or whatever online, or people who sell stuff they're not using, and not actually people doing this as a small business. All right, it will benefit all of us sellers to get this raised. Etsy is making it easier for us to contact our representatives. This is how we get change. We're getting screwed on all angles, from fees to taxes. Now, look, I agree with you. I think the threshold should get raised. I just don't like that they're framing this like, hey, we're just trying to help you out, because, again, it really doesn't make a difference to us sellers what the threshold is, because either way, we're supposed to be reporting all of this income. So the only person it helps by having a higher threshold is people who are, like, technically cheating on their taxes. Just being real here. So, Etsy needs to do their bit and handle the paperwork. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing, why am I supposed to do the legwork on their behalf to get the threshold raised because they want it, you know? Like, again, do I want the threshold raised? Yes. But them acting like they're doing us a favor is kind of ridiculous, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It's Etsy that has to they just don't want to send out as many forms because it takes more work. And it saves them money if they don't have to send out as many forms, because they don't have to go through all the paperwork. So, you know, I don't know. Yeah, the tenant, that's why I don't like issuing a 1099K on their end. Shouldn't be that. It is a little bit more work, but it's not like it's that much more work. So that's where I'm kind of like, okay. Yeah. So, I don't know. If we don't fight it, we will be forced out of business. Imports will take forever. Well, here's the thing. The reason I think the 1099K threshold should be raised is mostly because I think $600 is going to get a lot of people who don't sell things on a commercial scale. But, you know, but as it is, I do think there are a lot, like, I've seen so many people in the Etsy subreddit that genuinely think that if they don't get a 1099K, that means they don't owe taxes on the money they earned, and that's just not true. So that's why I've tried to do a few videos about the subject, because a lot of people genuinely think that, you know, as long as they don't get a 1099K and the IRS doesn't know about it, they're good. But here's the thing. If you deposit that money into a bank account, the IRS could get access. Like, I have no doubt they could get access to that. So if you do anything, if there's any sort of electronic paper trail, you could get found out if you're ever audited. So I don't want to encourage people to break the laws. That's why I always encourage people to do things by the book. Look up all of your laws so that you know whether you're following them or not. But technically, it is illegal to not report those earnings, even if you don't get the 1099K form. I've also seen sellers that honestly think that Etsy is that Etsy is collecting income tax. They're withholding the income tax on their behalf, much like a traditional employer, and that's not true. Etsy collects sales tax on our behalf and remits it in most states, but Etsy does not withhold income tax for you, so you are responsible for paying taxes to the IRS if you are an independent contractor. Now, I pay quarterly taxes because, again, I'm totally self-employed and I just do like this contract stuff for Etsy. Now, if you work for a traditional employer, you could just have more withheld so that it covers the taxes you owe. But again, but you kind of have to estimate how much you owe, but you can actually get penalized by the IRS if you are not paying your taxes at least quarterly. So again, if you are an Etsy seller, you do need to do some research on this if you are not up to speed, because again, you want to make sure that you're paying all your taxes, and you have to pay at least quarterly if you are, you know, and again, if an employer is withholding the taxes and you also have an Etsy shop on the side, you could just have your employer withhold more to cover yourself with the Etsy shop so you don't have to owe money at the end of the year to the IRS. Again, consult a CPA or a tax professional or bookkeeping expert. I am not a financial expert. This is not financial advice. But you can also look at some of the shows I've done with Mark II, Not Your Dad's CPA, or Sarah from Small Business Sarah. We did a couple episodes on this topic because I have seen an alarming number of Etsy sellers who started an Etsy shop and have zero clue how any of this works. And I don't want you to get caught in a mess come tax time because you did not know. Or you get audited down the line and you realize you owe a bunch of taxes. It can be very complicated, but my issue with Etsy and the messaging was that they're like, oh, we're just trying to help you out. I'm like, no, you're trying to help yourself out because you just don't want to do the work. So that's just my opinion. All right, Sunflower, Sammy says, absolutely, we have to play within the guidelines. We are contractors and entrepreneurs, not a regular employee. And it is scary how many people I've seen who genuinely don't understand that they have to pay income taxes. They're like, oh, I'm good because I didn't get a 1099-K. No. If you're ever audited, and again, we already saw the IRS is getting like 87,000 new agents. Who do you think they're going to come after? The people who are extremely wealthy and have expensive attorneys and CPAs to do tax avoidance, or the people without a lot of resources who are a lot easier targets? They're definitely going to come after the working class and middle class much sooner before they target the super wealthy. Just how it works. If we think the IRS is going to help us out, that's just not happening here. So that's just my 2 cents. In other news, this is sort of Joann's related, but not really related to the corporate stuff. Someone pointed this out in a comment, and I did want to share this because it is pretty comical. Now we all remember the Ditto sewing pattern projector. It started off with a price of $799. Clearly, it doesn't seem like a lot of them have sold. And someone pointed this out to me this week, that the price went from like $799 to $399. I purchased mine for about $330 or something like that. Well, Joann's has actually dropped the price even further, and I am like lolling at this. And there is a link in the description. It is affiliate. If you'd like to try out the Ditto pattern projector, now you can try it out for $299. So it is now, I'm like laughing at this. It is now about $300. It is 63% off from the original price of $799. I'm just like, I cannot believe this. I feel awful for anyone who bought this at $799. I think you should get a refund of the $500. This is crazy. So it is now $299 at Joann. So if you were thinking about trying it and you want to try it out pretty cheap, now it's very, very, I was not expecting the price to go this low. And I bought it. I'm not mad about the price I paid because I paid about $336 plus tax. $299 is crazy cheap. You kind of have to have like a subscription in order to use it, and the subscription is like, I think it was like $99 a year. Let me look that up real quick. But can you believe that it's now the price it is? I am just laughing at that because it's kind of hilarious. That's hilarious. That's honestly hilarious. $299. All right, I'm trying to find the price of the... All right, where's the subscription stuff? I'm trying to find out. I thought it was $99 a year at last check. All right, I gotta mute myself real quick because I gotta... Okay, sorry guys, I have my mute on. Okay. All right, let's go back here. So who's going to support the product if Joann goes under? So it's actually, the company that owns Ditto is Ditto/Singer, and I actually bought mine on the Singer website. So if Joann's goes under, you still should be okay as long as Ditto/Singer don't go under. All right, Nancy says, I wouldn't even consider buying the Ditto unless it came down to $199. Nancy, that might actually happen. Like, if it's going to $299, there's no reason it couldn't go to $199. You might also be able to buy it from somebody, like maybe someone selling it. So maybe you could do something like that. So I know, I see all the muted comments, guys. We're back. We're back, guys. Thanks for letting me know. So yeah, so it's not owned by Joann's. So you should be okay if again, something happens to Joann's. Joann's is just one of the distributors for the product, but they don't have a stake in Ditto. But yeah, if Ditto goes under or if they stop supporting the app, you actually will have a bricked product and you won't be able to use it. So that is something to keep in mind, that if Ditto either ceases to exist or decides just to stop updating the app or stop running the app, then you have a useless product. And that's why I didn't want to pay $799 for it. I was, but again, I was okay, like, at the price I paid, and because I have a YouTube channel, I was like, okay, I'll do like $330 something. But there was no way I was going to pay $799 for that thing. And I'm really glad I did not, because I thought about it and I was like, I don't think so. So what does everybody think? All right, guys, type 1 in the chat if the $299 price is somewhat tempting to you. Like, if you're someone that wouldn't consider the Ditto pattern projector at $799, but you would consider it at $299, plus you have to pay for the subscription, type 1 in the chat if this is something that would possibly change your mind. Or write like no if it's just like a no-go. So what do you think? Yeah, for me it's a business right. Yeah, I can actually use this as a business write-off since I bought it for the channel to review. But yeah, is this something at this new price, is this something that at all might appeal to you? Like as, okay, so far we got a lot of no's. Any takers? Anyone that's like, yeah, I would try it for $299, or is it just a flat out no? All right, so far we have only Nancy who said she would buy it at $199, but not at $299. At $299, I would definitely try it out because since I paid more for it, but anything over $400 for me was definitely a deal breaker. Okay, so we have all no's so far in terms of whether or not you would try out the Ditto pattern projector for $200. So I wonder how badly the sales are going if even at $299, most of you are like, okay, no. Okay, so Sunflower says you would need $199 with 1 year. Okay, so you'd want like a 1 year subscription with it. So a lot of people are like $199 would be like the price where you might pull the trigger on it, but $299, and I do plan to do a review on it. I just have to I gotta freaking open the box, which I've been very bad about. So I don't know. So, okay, well, Steph says, I know a quilt shop that lets you rent per pattern to use their Ditto. I have not rented, by the way. Okay, so that's interesting. So if you buy it, maybe you could like let other people use it or borrow it from you or rent it to try to get more of a, try to like kind of defray the cost of it or make it more worthwhile. Okay, so far no one wants to buy it in this chat at $299. Nobody's interested so far. $800 is a total yikes. Yeah, I cannot believe that starting price was ridiculous. And I actually saw an honest review of someone that paid $800 for it. I feel very terrible, and I shared her video on the main channel. I just can't believe that somebody paid $800 for it. Yeah, so yeah, if you have it, you could maybe like rent it out to friends, like say, hey, I'll rent it to you for like $10 or something. You can use it and trace it. or maybe you could like share the cost among a group of friends, make it cheaper. So maybe if you have like 5 sewing friends, you could all come over and use it together, or like pass it around or something. I don't know, maybe something like that. And maybe you could share, I'm sure there's a way you could share the subscription. Something like that. I could probably take a pattern class to learn how to draft patterns for a couple $100. Yeah, it's about the same price as this thing. And you wouldn't really need the pattern projector. So, yeah, I don't know. I think $2.99 definitely makes it more appealing, in my opinion. But yeah, a lot of people still don't like this thing, and it's clear they haven't really sold that many, you know? Alright, if I could find some unsponsored videos giving it rave reviews, I might consider it. Well, Nancy, I will be doing a review. It will obviously be unsponsored since I paid for it. And, you know, and here's the thing. I try to give these products a fair shake. And be, you know, like I'll say what I like about it, and I'll say what I don't like about it. You know, but, you know, like there are some things I like about the Brothers Sketch, and there are some things I really hate about it. You know, but I try to give these products a chance because, and again, I wouldn't have, if I thought the Ditto was total crap, I wouldn't have even bought it, but I'm curious to try it out. It's new technology. I also pre-ordered another kind of new innovative product that I'll be sharing, but it's going to take like forever to get. So I don't have it yet. But when I get it, I will be reviewing, you know, more products on the channel. Lutterlow. I actually got hit up by them for a sponsorship, but I decided not to do it. So, I don't know. I'm on the market for a fabric design product. Very cool, very cool. Alright, so I have one more thing I want to show everybody. And this is kind of a fun thing. So this is not anything, you know, this is definitely more of like a happy thing. I just wanted to share this with you because I thought it was super cool. Alright, so I saw this on Instagram and I just thought this was amazing. So this is from Boss, you know, like the Hugo Boss, like design house. And this is in Paris, France. And I just thought this was really neat. So they've been doing some really cool like displays in different cities, and they're huge. Like they had one display that was like a massive purse. They had some other cool stuff. They've really been doing some amazing displays. So this is a huge sewing machine on top of the building, or like, you know, obviously it's not a real sewing machine. Isn't this the coolest thing ever? And I love how they depict it so that it looks like the fabric is like moving along. This thing is so awesome. So it says, boldly embellished, bring out your best with the double B monogram, an emblem of power, style, and distinction. Those based in Paris, come visit us in store. I cannot pronounce that. Champs, I'm not French. For a memorable boss experience, and it says, be your own boss. I just thought this was super cool, and I wanted to share this because I thought it was super neat, you know? I think their displays are really creative, and it must have taken forever to make this thing and cost a ton of money, but look how I love companies that will make viral in-person displays like this, and it will give people a reason to go to the store, check it out, and take pictures with it. This is very smart marketing, I think. I know this was very expensive, but there's going to be a bunch of people that go to this location and take photos, share it online. This is sort of like a viral marketing thing. But I just thought this was super cool that they made a Boss sewing machine that's like super, this looks huge. I just thought this was super neat. So that's sort of my little like feature story of the day. I'm going to try to share something cool I find online every week. I think that's something I'll try to incorporate with the shows. I just thought this was really kind of cool. And I thought it was neat that they did kind of a tribute to a sewing machine. Just super cool. Yeah, this is super awesome, right? Yeah, like, I saw the picture of the giant sewing machine a few weeks ago. It was, and this is the kind of thing, yeah, everyone who's in Paris is going to take pictures of this and share it online. I just think this is so cool. I feel like companies need to do more of this, and this is something I think sewing machine companies could do as well. You know what I'm saying here? So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was super cool. So this is in Paris. I've never been to Paris, but, you know, the shopping, I hear the shopping is really good there. I've never been there. I've only been to London for a few days, but I just thought this was super neat. All right, does anyone have any questions or want to chat about anything else? I'm probably going to keep this show maybe a little bit shorter than usual. We actually went over a lot in the past hour or so. I thought this show was going to take forever. I was like, we have so much stuff to go over. This is going to take forever, and it really didn't. So I'll stick around for a little bit, but let's chat. Let's hang out. Let me know what you think about this format too, with like where we go over different news stories. I try to cover a lot of different topics. We are having fun. I cannot believe the Ditto pattern projector is $299. I am just like, and what do we think about the Joann's executive getting the $400,000 bonus? I'm just like, is this company for real? Like, I don't know. I feel like this is a parody at this point. You know what I'm saying here? Yeah, I like this format too. We can cover, and then I'll clip segments for the channel, so people who, because that's the thing, some people like to watch live, some people hate live streams, and they just want to see a segment about whatever topic it is, and they don't really want to see, you know, they don't want to watch like the chit chat or that kind of thing. So I totally get that. Paris says killer flea markets, very awesome. It's the only thing that's going down in price in this economy. Oh man, I hear you. It's so lovely with Grace. That's a good point. Yeah, everything else is skyrocketing. This is the only thing it's like the only thing that hasn't, you know, been subject to inflation. Reward a failure. That sounds familiar. I know, right? Oh boy. Like $400,000 to this guy just stay there for 6 months and saying you did a good job. I'm like, okay. It would have been smarter to spend that money towards getting freight out of the back rooms. Yeah, you know, I mean, I can think of so many other things that money could have gone towards. You know, I don't know, like, and is this guy doing a good job? I mean, they're probably about to file for bankruptcy. I would argue against that. Just saying here. Just saying. I don't know, guys. I know, this is crazy. This is just crazy. All right, because it is our creative world, it impacts us, so it's great to share and interact. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I wanted this to be a place where you could come, hang out, chill, and also, like, chat with other people. And also, I try to put comments on the screen so your voice is heard as well. I think we've had a lot of fun here, and I enjoy doing this every week. I really do. I think this is a fun format here. All right, guys, last chance for comments, and I'm gonna go head off and get something to eat pretty soon. Hope everyone's having a really good week. Yeah, I've just been feeling really like garbage the past few days, so I don't know. I've just been like, it's been hard for me to like even get out of bed. I'm like, I know. And then right before the show started, I was having problems with some of my tech stuff, so I can't easily do like the. Normally, I have pretty easy access to do the overhead camera, but this week I had some issues, so I'm gonna have to figure out my tech problems. I think it's because I have a I shouldn't have upgraded my OBS version. That seems to have messed me up, so we'll have to see what happens. But like, I was just not. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, guys. I'm like, I don't know. Yes, things are not going well with my stream deck, so I had to I'm gonna have to figure this stuff out before the next show, because this is super crazy. So I'm like, okay. Oh wait, what happened? What's happening here? This is very weird. So, okay, yeah, I gotta figure out my OBS and my stream deck, because things got kind of scuffed tonight, and I think it has to do that with me. I need to revert back to the previous version of OBS, because that didn't help me. So I'm gonna have to go back to a previous version. So, all right, feel better, Jen. Back to my chocolate chip cookies. Oh, that sounds really good. All right, you are one of the only channels doing actual sewing news on a regular basis. I love it. It's why I subscribed to you in the first place. I really look forward to the show every Sunday night. Thank you, and I agree. I didn't see a lot of channels doing sewing news or like what's going on, so I was like, maybe this is something we could do But I really had to separate it from the main channel just because they're two very different audiences. The person who wants sewing news is not the same person who wants to watch like sewing tutorials and sewing machine videos. So I did have to really kind of rework that. My Michaels has fabrics, but only have self-checkout now for the main register. If they file, potentially the bankruptcy court can claw back the $400,000 to pay debts. You know, I don't know about that. But I would argue that it's not really financially prudent to give an executive a $400,000 bonus when the company is totally in the crapper. Like, I read that and I was like, you've got to be kidding, right? There's a reason venture capital is known as vulture capital. They circle around loading a company with debt, tacking on fees, and waiting for it to die. Just my opinion. Yeah. I don't know if the bonus is comparable to other executives in his position. His annual wage seems low, though. And I think I remember I remember going over their compensation. Even though their salary is low, they get a lot of other incentives like stock options and whatnot. So I believe, let me see, Scott. Let me try to look up his compensation, because his compensation was a lot more than $400,000, even before the bonus. Let's see here. So he actually made quite a bit of money beyond like the $400,000. Okay. Okay, I don't know how accurate this is. Let me try to look this up. But this says his total compensation for 2023 was about $577,000. Let me see if there's other years here. I thought I remember seeing higher numbers in 2022 or 2021. Let me see if I can find some other info here. But I thought I remember seeing some higher numbers. Let me look this up real quick. But they definitely make more money beyond just the base salary. Alright, right now I can only find the $577,000 number. Yeah, he's making more money than like the vast majority of us will earn in like a decade. That's great. It's just crazy, you know what I'm saying? I just gotta throw some shade. Like, Joann, like, what is going on? What is going on at Joann? Okay, so he has to stay with the company for 6 months. So if he gets fired in the next 6 months or quits, he has to pay it back. Yeah, they get stocks. They get all kinds of stuff, you know? So it's pretty crazy. All right, I did retired paralegal and did corporate bankruptcies. The CEO might be getting $500,000, but I bet the employees are getting paid minimum. Because, yeah, the employees are definitely not making a lot of money. Even, like, the managers, I saw some of the salary ranges on the Joann. Like, by the way, if you really want to get the tea on Joann, check out r/Joann on Reddit, because a lot of the employees talk about everything that's going on. And again, the reason I'm not bringing a lot of that stuff up here is because it's unconfirmed information, because it's like anonymous people online. But if you want to get a sense of like what the tea is, I would head there, because there's a lot of conversations going on that are fairly interesting. I would love to see his job description and see his reviews to see if he met the goals set forth in the job description. Yeah, and I remember seeing his employment agreement somewhere, but it was like a while ago because I was looking up Wade Mickelon's as well. Let's see if we can find his employment contract. Let's see if we can find this. Alright. I don't know how helpful this will be, but this is what I found. Okay. Change in directors or principal officers. Okay, so Scott worked for Under Armour. Well, funny, because that Pamela Corey lady also worked for Under Armour as well. Okay, so annual base salary of $425,000 per year. A target short-term annual cash incentive opportunity equal to 50% of base salary and earn from 0 to 200% of target. 3, a target long-term equity incentive opportunity equal to 100% of base salary. And for 2022, provided 2/3 in service-based stock options and 1/3 in service-based restricted stock units. All right, standard retirement and health and welfare benefits. Let's be real, these people are getting paid like a crap load of money. And they're just running the company into the ground. That's what's like crazy is like, you can do like the worst job in corporate America and keep like failing up. That's what I don't understand. This is crazy. I mean, the stock price is at 23 cents. So, I mean, on the bright side, at least, these executives have lost money with the stock price tanking. So, that's the one, like, maybe thing that we can look at. Yeah, like, I mean, these people are doing a terrible job. Like, they're clearly not doing well. Things are not going well. That's the thing, like, things are not good for Joann Fabrics, and they're, like, pretending like nothing's wrong. Joann's needs to have think tanks with the employees and customers to jumpstart a way to save Joann's. I don't know, like, what they're doing. Like, these decisions don't make a lot of sense to me, you know? If you work screw up at Home Depot, you would be fired. Yeah, a lot of I mean, yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing with these corporate jobs, a lot of these people are terrible and they just keep getting better jobs. Yeah, the golden parachute for pilfering a once great company. So sad. It certainly is. Guys, I mean, this is just, it's so bizarre. I keep thinking, like, I feel like people are like, Jen, why do you keep doing videos about Joann? Stuff keeps happening, you know? So as long as there's still stuff to report on, I guess I'll keep doing these. But I'm like, this is just crazy. The Joann stuff just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But, you know, this week, Scott Sekella, congratulations on your $400,000 bonus. You can buy a couple cars with it or whatever. Maybe a couple trips in a private jet. I don't know what you do on the weekends. But hey, you know, that's corporate America for you. That is corporate America. Well, thank you, Denise. We try to be, you know, I try to come up with some good resources to share. And by the way, all of these links are in the description box. So if you'd like to look at these on your own and just get more of the detail, you're welcome to do that. And I encourage you to do that, you know, just to see all of this stuff for yourself. Because I think it's good to do your own research and, you know, actually look up the source material here. I stopped shopping at Joann's. The workers were rude when I went in the store. Plus, I don't like their fabric. Glad you do reports on Joann. Well, thank you, Rose Gold. All right, guys, I'm probably going to sign off pretty soon. But another quick shout out. Just one more quick shout out. Oh, by the way, oh, you know what? I forgot to put up the banners this week. Oh, well, I don't know. I have these, you know, banners, you know, with my Etsy shop. So if you want to head to sewingreport.etsy.com, that's where you can shop for sewing supplies and fabric. And also, if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you could hit that like button if you found this show to be entertaining and helpful. On your way out, hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to Sewing Report Live if you would like to join in on live shows every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be here. Although I will say, I think we're going to skip, I noticed Easter Sunday is in a couple weeks, so we will probably skip a show on Easter just because it's a fairly large holiday, and I would like to encourage you to do something, you know, with your family or your friends or whatnot. I know a lot of people celebrate Easter, and I'm probably going to be going over to my mom's house, so we will not be having an Easter Sunday show. So I greatly appreciate everyone joining in for Sewing Report Live. Hope everyone has a great week ahead. Thank you all for joining me, and let me know if you're watching this on the replay. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'm Jen with Sewing Report Live, and just a quick shout out to today's sponsor, the Sewing Report Etsy shop, where you can get all of your fabric and sewing supplies. So I greatly appreciate everyone that's shopped with me. I'll be looking out for some more orders this evening after the show ends. So I hope everyone has a great week ahead. I am Jen with Sewing Report Live. I'll see you guys again next Sunday. And remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.